Good morning, guys. So I didn't get any footage of me making my lunch, but this is just kind of what I have in my lunch bag for that day. I usually grab yogurt, pudding, applesauce, cheese and crackers, veggies, fruit, pretty much anything I can find in my fridge to take. Driving for about 45 minutes now. I'm sitting at a red light. There's nobody around. I am actually so exhausted. I've been like rubbing my eyes, so I probably look so dead right now. And I can't stop yawning. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. I am hitting up a Tim's because I always hit up a Tim's like pretty much every single morning. I have a tendency to have to pee like a billion times, especially when I'm getting ready to get going to the farm. Yeah, I'm getting Tim's. For all you American and people on the other side of the world, Tim's is short for Tim Hortons. It is honestly a Canadian's bliss. So I'm getting Tim's. By the way, I always get 2 of these. Literally every day. And I am here now. Alright, you guys, I am at the farm. So the first thing I will do is grab the red pails from the shelf. And then there are usually white pails there as well, but it looks like somebody had them already at the pump for me. And then I would just grab the amount of nipples and bottles that I need for the calves that are in the back and the bull calves. And then I have a white pail filling up with warm water, and I add extra minerals and nutrients to that. So it's about half the amount of calves that we have in the back. That's how many pumps go into that. And then I would put them all on my wagon, and I would pull my wagon through the barn about halfway to where the pump is, and then fill up my white pails that will be there for me. So here we got the pump. So as you can see, I have the white pail underneath where the milk is pouring into. I will fill, I think it's about 3 pails of white milk, and I usually fill 2 red pails up and then have the other ones stacked up. So I try to fill the wagon with as much white milk as possible so I don't have to do as many trips. But I usually have to do at least one other trip and just fill up again because those pails do not cover the amount of babies we have. And then I'm just going to pull my wagon all the way to the back of the barn through the back door to where the baby barn is. So I don't know why, but I felt the need to save this fly out of the milk and put him on the ledge. The next thing I do is I grab the shell powder off the shelf and I add 2 scoops to that warm water, as well as a cup of molasses, and then I use a whisk that's hanging on the wall to whip it all up. All of our calves get 3 liters of white milk straight from the tank, as well as a splash of the molasses mixture in every single pail. The pails are fed directly to the calves in their feeders. For this day, I started with the baby one just because she likes to get distracted by everybody else, but usually we just work our way down the line. I felt like this clip was necessary to keep in considering I'm clumsy AF, and this just shows my true self. So cute little fact for you guys: when a calf or a cow in general wags their tail, that means they are exceptionally happy, and this little bull calf was loving his milk that morning. once I'm done feeding the babies, I stack all my pails and my bottles, I turn the lights off, close the doors, and I head back out to the main barn. I head right to the pump room to start doing the dishes. It's always important to hose out the pails that had milk in them before, so the milk doesn't actually stick to them when you're trying to wash. It just makes it a lot easier and makes them more clean so you don't have any weird smells later on. Finally, the last thing I do after washing all my pails is I just hose off the floor to make sure I get rid of any milk residue or straw. Once I'm all done my stuff, then I head over to where they're milking, and I usually just grab a pitchfork and start scraping the stalls clean. If anyone's there that needs help, I also just jump on and help milk the rest of the herd. It usually goes a lot quicker with 2 people rather than 1. So as you can see right here, I'm washing the teats, and this basically prevents any infection to the cows. It gets any dirt or residue or oils from the udders, basically anything that can cause irritation. It also helps clear out the straw that may be stuck to them, preventing our system from clogging. So you always have to wash the teats first before you put the milker on. After every milking, we make sure that we scrape the floors to make sure that we've got any poop that's on the ground, and then we give it a nice solid sweep straight down the middle. I just happened to notice when I was editing that the owner put a cat butt in my camera, so I just left it. Sorry. Once we're done scraping and sweeping the middle floor, we just head over to the mangers, and we want to make sure that we push all the hay towards the cow so that they can reach it. And any dirt that's laying closer to the wall area, we just put it in a pile and sweep it up into the gutter. on one side of the barn we do have pen cows, so we just have to make sure that when we're sweeping the hay towards the cows in the stalls that we're also doing the same for the pen cows so they can reach it too. So now that you're done your breakfast, the first thing that we do is we go back into the baby barn and we have to finish off with them. And we grab a bag of shavings and we give every single calf either a pail, sometimes 3 pails of shavings, and that's just basically fresh bedding for them to lay on. Some of them that are a little bit messier do get the leftovers of a bag or do get a half a bag, but for the most part they're pretty good with going in the same spot. So the next chore that we have to do after the bedding's all done is we have to give all of the calves fresh grain every single morning. So what we do at this farm specifically is we gather up all the leftover grain that the babies haven't eaten, and we disperse it to all the bigger ones that are just basically less picky. And then we give everybody else fresh grain. And the thing about the little babies is that they tend to not really eat it for the first couple weeks of being out in the world anyways. They mostly just stick their nose in it and see what it is. They try it. It takes a couple weeks for them to actually dip into the grain and the hay, but we still give it to them as an option and for them to kind of learn what it is. So that's what I'm doing right now. Sometimes for chores there's 2 of us, sometimes there's 1. If there's 2 of us, 1 person usually does grain, the other person gets started on the water, and we fill the water right when we do the grain and do the bedding, and then we go back and do the water again, just because in this time when I was filming this it was summer and it was really hot, and the calves pretty much drink through the pail within 30 seconds of dropping it. So I did have my friend doing water while I was dealing with the grain. The last thing that we do in the baby barn is we do give everybody fresh hay. So just like the grain, we gather up whatever the littlest ones didn't eat and we give it to the bigger ones, and then we give brand new handfuls to the little ones. And we generally load them up with hay, at least the bigger ones, because they do eat quite a bit of it. And then they do get hay again in the evening. So as I mentioned earlier, before we leave, we do just double check their water pails and just make sure that everybody has a full pail. Some of the bigger ones tend to drink it while we're filling it, so we usually have to go back again and do those ones at least. So once we're done in the baby barn, it's time to head over to the heifer barn and feed them their lunchtime hay as well. So at the back of the barn, there's a section that we have to give them about a bale and a half. And then at the front of the barn, there's 2 other groups that their manger is split. So we just have to make sure that the hay is dispersed evenly between the 2 and that they can reach it all. And then if they're running low, we just give them an extra bale or 2 as well. So last but not least, before I take off and I go home, I just jump into the calf barn and I sweep all the leftover hay from the front of the barn to the back to the oldest calves. And then I disperse 2 bales evenly throughout the barn to the calves, and that is also their lunchtime hay.
bite me. Don't bite me.
It takes me about an hour or so to drive home. Honestly, I haven't really done a Sunday shift in a while, so I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I think I'm just gonna take my normal route and see. I've got a couple errands to run while I'm out, so I might as well do those. But I gotta get home and start packing because we move in like a week, so that'll be fun.
So hey, if you want, you can ride with me, ride with me. Feels like a hard to get started when I'm driving, turning every head, hell, I ain't even trying. Got them Ray-Ban shades, pretty in pink, call me old school, but hey, I'm a 90s baby, my 80s Mercedes.
Okay, so I'm back in town now. I think I'm just gonna end it here because honestly I just have some like errands to run and that's kind of boring and I don't really want to take you guys with me. So yeah, thanks for coming by and watching and seeing how we do everything, and If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you don't, I don't care. Yeah, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. I have a whole bunch of ideas, stuff that I want to do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, see you guys.